Hi, this is Luke Zipp from Crocker Farm Auction, and I'm here with an important example of Baltimore, Maryland stoneware that we will be selling in our spring 2020 stoneware and redware auction. So this piece we know was made in Baltimore because of the very distinctive, just beautiful gray base clay, and then also these abstract floral decorations, which became really the hallmark of Baltimore stoneware beginning around the time this piece was made. So it was made maybe around 1840 in Baltimore. So it's really kind of like the second generation of Baltimore stoneware potters that during this period they were kind of standardizing their products. And so they came up with this abstract floral motif, which could be executed pretty rapidly, but still look beautiful as well. And so this is the decoration that really began around 1840 in Baltimore, and then almost to the end of the century, Baltimore potters were using this type of floral decoration. But here we have, it's executed extremely elaborately, so we have both on the front and then also on the reverse, almost completely covers the piece. This just beautiful cobalt oxide decoration. We know it's 10 gallons in capacity because of the capacity stamp on the front of the piece. And it has these beautiful vertical handles. It's really kind of a classical form that some of the larger examples in Baltimore would bear. But what's really unusual is the fact that it is so large. The fact that it's 10 gallons in capacity is very unusual for Baltimore stoneware, especially during this period. And what's really cool is we know that where it was made for. It was made for a large farm in Culpeper, Virginia, the Coons family farm, Northcliffe Farm in Culpeper, Virginia, which I think is still in operation. I think it's a horse farm today. But Baltimore potters really marketed their wares well into Virginia, even down into the Carolinas. And so this was made for that farm. And the reason why it's so large, it's very reminiscent of other southern plantation jars that were made in South Carolina and Edgefield, in North Carolina, the Catawba River Valley. You know, you find large jars even in Georgia from the period around 1840. And so consumers who weren't in urban settings really had a need for these type of large vessels to store their foodstuffs. And I think this piece probably was used for similar reasons that, you know, like Edgefield jars were used to store and cure meats, because stoneware is a great, insulating vessel, keeps it cooler than a hogshead barrel. And really, so the farm could, have meats put up for the winter in a big jar like this, but it's extremely unusual. So that's one thing that's very important about this jar is its size, but then also this, in addition to the typical Baltimore decoration, it has other decoration. It has these chain links around the top, both front and back. And then what's so cool is, again, it was made for a rural setting, and I think the potter obviously knew who this piece was made for, decorated it with something that kind of was a tip of the cap for the consumer that it was made for. It has wheelbarrows, which is so unusual, very cool wheelbarrows in cobalt, brushed cobalt on both sides, so this side and then the other side, wheelbarrow decoration. So it's just a really cool piece. I wanted to make sure to shoot a video of it so you get a sense of its size and scale. And we are thrilled to offer it in our spring stoneware and redware auction.